Hi guys, so this video is going to be made up of three separate sessions that I wrote into one video. I didn't have time to make a separate video for each session. So each of these sessions are technically at 1-1 home games, but they play bigger. So they play like 1-1, 2-5, 10 sometimes. So it's pretty action-packed. So in this hand we have 9-3 offsuit, there's some limpers, and we check our option in the button straddle. The flop comes A of clubs, 6 of spades, 10 of clubs, giving us a gut shot and backdoor clubs, and the flop quickly checks through. The turn comes the king of spades, and now middle position leads for $5. Late position calls, and now it's on us, so I think middle position's range can have a king, just some random draw, or he's spaz bang with a 10. And if we raise now, I'm not sure we could get a king to fold immediately at least. We may have to overbet the river, and I'd rather much not with just a weak gut shot. And we also do have to worry about late position, so I just call. Now the river comes the king of hearts, and middle position checks, late position also checks behind, so where are their ranges? Middle position's range probably doesn't have a king in it, because if he had a king he would keep bang, and also late position can't have anything that strong, because if he did have a king he would also keep bang. So middle position most likely just spaz bet with some random pair, and is now checking the river because he's scared that we have the king, and late position can also just have some random pair or random misdraw. Essentially no one's really that strong. Since both of villain's ranges are super capped, we're almost never going to run into a super strong hand here, so I do go for a massive overbet and try and steal the pot.
I don't care enough.
Okay,
I had a pair.
yeah, a pair? That's probably a good fold. I probably had a king, right?
Yeah, you probably did.
Yeah. Or it's 9-3 offsuit. We'll find out on the vlog.
Yeah.
So in this hand, we peel Jack 5 offsuit in the button straddle, half the table limps to us, and we check our option. The flop comes 2 of clubs, 2 of diamonds, 4 of clubs, and it checks through. It checks all the way to me on the turn, and then I try to steal the pot. I decided to go for a $10 bet to steal it, thinking no one's really that strong. And I decided to go 10 because I figure if someone is checking a hand like pocket 7s, pocket 8s, or just some random showdown value hand, they're gonna call the turn and then fold the river. So we get extra money. Whereas we just go $5 or $6, they're going to call the turn anyway, and then they're going to fold the river anyway, so we may as well squeeze in some extra value. Now the small blind min click check raises me to $20, so what's his range? I don't think he has overpairs because he just limped in pre-flop, so he's saying he has a 2 and maybe some random 9, and that's about it. And as for bluffs, I'm not sure. This is actually an under bluff spot. So when it's an under bluff spot, I don't think people were finding enough check raise bluffs on the turn multi-way. You should just be over folding. So for that reason, my thought process can be represented by this one video clip.
Why can't you be friends like me and Mr. Finger? You betrayed me for the last time.
Me being the genius that I am, at the time I thought that his min click check raise didn't seem very strong, because if he had a strong hand he may actually just check raise bigger. I decided to 3-bet him to $50. Also to note, there aren't that many value hands he would actually check raise on the turn with, other than trip 2s, or maybe king 9, ace 9 for thin value. Now, there is a timing tell with the way that he decided to call my 3-bet. The villain decided to snap call my 3-bet on the turn. So what does this mean? Generally speaking, snap calls usually indicate weakness, because villains tend to raise their strong hands, or consider raising their strong hands, instead of snap calling. And this is against weak action, or just a moderate action, like a flop c-bet. If they snap call your c-bet, usually means they're way more towards the showdown value hand. But I 3-bet this guy on the turn, so the context matters. When they snap call against strong action, it usually means they just have a strong hand, because they don't consider raising their strong hands against strong action because they're scared. And if they had a weak hand, they would tank a lot more. The river comes a 5, which gives us some showdown value against some of his draws. I'm pretty sure we're still fucked. But villain checks, I check back, and villain shows pocket kings with the king of clubs. So it is worth noting that the villain decided to limp pocket kings pre-flop for some reason. So in this hand, we miss peeling our cards on camera, but we have Queen 6 of diamonds. So this hand the button straw is on, there's a raise from early, 2 callers, we have 2 suited cards, splashing home game, Patil Patel, we call, this may be a bit too loose, then the straw calls, so we're 5 ways to the flop. The flop comes Jack of diamonds, King of hearts, 10 of diamonds, and now under the gun C bets for 10 into 5 people. Under the gun +1 folds, and everybody else calls, so we're going 4 ways to the turn. The turn comes the 9 of diamonds, giving us the queen high flush. And now under the gun checks. And now the MP player leads into 4 people for half pot. So what's his range? His range, when the male position player leads into 4 people on the turn, when the flush gets there, is pretty much only flushes. He has no weak hands. Like, he can't bluff into 4 people when the flush gets there. Like, at least not with a complete airball. He has to be suicidal. So, he pretty much only has flushes, and if he's a complete maniac, he has a hand like he's turning a pair into a bluff, ace 10 offsuit with the ace of diamonds, or ace jack offsuit with the ace of diamonds. But he has to be a complete maniac to do that. So, like, it just doesn't have any bluffs. For that reason, since I think he's never bluffing, he almost always has a really strong hand, like a flush. I think we can raise now on the turn and get it in against a worse flush that this player can have. So that's what I do, I raise to 100. And now, to my surprise, the button decides to call my $100 bet. The middle position player now decides to overcall the $100 bet. So now we're still 3 ways to the river. Now the river comes the 8 of diamonds, which gives us a straight flush. Although at that time I don't even know if I realized I have a straight flush. I may have just realized I have the queen high flush. Checks to me on the river, and I shove all in for half pot. The button tank folds, and the middle position calls.
Jesus Christ.
That's Queen 6 of hearts, you fucking dumbass.
What? Nothing?
Oh my gosh, she had the straight flush.
Holy
Fuck,
I
folded the nut.
And I had the queen.
straight flush. Wow.
And I had
Oh
the
my
queen.
god.
Why? Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Wait, you thinking of calling the guy?
God. Fuck.
Oh wait, I didn't see. Okay, so the first possibility was exactly what I represented in the video. I misread my hand. Or the second possibility, more likely possibility, was that I thought the board was the same except this was a 9 of hearts, and I backdoored a heart flush, the queen high flush, or the 8 was a spade or a club, and I would have assumed that they shoved ace queen with SPR being super low on the turn, so I would have had the nut straight. And then I would have just shoved it for thin value. But I'm not sure what the actual possibility is, because this hand was over a month ago. In this next hand, I'm going to show you why the turn check raise line is so overpowered. I just want you guys to listen to this lovely table banter before we continue with the hand.
Might have won the pot, but he lost his girlfriend.
Shit.
No, I'm fucked.
$6? I'll call.
What happened? What?
I left her open for an hour and a half.
So in this hand, the button straw is onto 2. Small blind raises. I have ace 4 offsuit. I may or may not be a little bit on tilt, so I call, and the button comes along for the ride. The flop comes king 8-4 with 2 diamonds, and it checks to me, and I see no reason to bet, so I check through, and the button checks. Now the turn comes to jack of spades, and it checks to me. I still see no reason to bet, so I check, and now the button bets $10. So what is button's range? Okay, so button probably doesn't have too many strong hands in his range, because he bets all of his 2 pair and sets on the flop multi-way, and if he did also have a flush draw, he would probably also just bet that on the flop himself. So most of his range is going to be medium strength hands and weak hands. I guess he can also have jack 8 for a strong hand, but other than that, he really only has really weak king X, some second pair hands, and some draws like 10-9, 5-6, or 10-7 that are now draws, but they weren't draws on the flop. So against this range, I decide to merge check raise my pair, because we get value from his draws that we're ahead of, and off his second pair and really weak king X, we can fold out on the river with a massive overbet. Because his range now is basically just crippled. I will say, I think my turn check raise size is a little bit too small. I think we could probably go bigger to get him to call his weaker hands and then fold them on the river. So now the river comes to 6 of hearts, and I follow through with my plan. I overbet $150 into the mill. I will note now that I actually think $150 is a little bit too small. I think we can go 2x or just rip it in. I think there's only, yeah, rip it in for 2x pot, 2.5x pot behind. That's all I have left anyway. So we may as well just go for gold because this range is basically just crippled. My plan goes to absolute shit when the button decides to shove for $100 more into 250. And we're absolutely fucked here. How could he ever be bluffing? This is such an underbluff line. After I showed so much strength that I just have to fold here. I will say that the turn check raise line and overbet river is still OP because 99% of players aren't gonna shove for $100 more into 250 with 10 high. Like, that's just not a thing that happens. In this hand, we pick up 7-5 of spades in the cutoff. The bunch draw is on. Small blind limps for 2. I raise to 16 because at this game nobody folds. The bunch draw calls and the small blind calls. The flop comes 3-2-4, 2 clubs and a heart. It checks to me and I bet out 15, just trying to do a stab and grab. The button doesn't believe me. And then the small blind folds, so we're going heads up to the turn. The turn comes a board pairing 3, which I actually think is a really bad card for me to keep bluffing on. Because we want some scary cards to scare the button away, like ace, kings, and queens. But unfortunately, now if the button has an overpair like pocket 9s or pocket 8s, he's now pretty much never folding. So at this point, I think we just give up. People just get so much more sticky when the board pairs, so I check. Now the button decides to bet 50 into 78, so what's his range? So at this point I'm inclined to believe the button has an overpair, and if he does have a bluff, it's probably a flush draw, and if not, then yeah, maybe he has some random air hand, but most likely an overpair for value. Now, it's been a while since this session, so I'm not sure, but I think I start grabbing my big chips and I start thinking, and then the button starts making really interesting live tails. Okay, firstly, the button started making some scary eye contact with me while I was tanking. And in my personal experience, scary eye contact is weakness. Usually, when people act strong, they're weak, and when they act weak, they're strong. That's just what people do. And also, if the button has a strong hand, why would he be trying to scare me away? I'm assuming the button's not a complete idiot, right? So if he has a strong hand, why would he be trying to scare me away with scary eye contact? That's pretty suspicious. And then he sounds annoyed and impatient. Like, his voice and acting indicate annoyance and impatience. Maybe his posture too, I'm not sure. And this is more likely to be weakness, because why would you be annoyed or impatient if you have the nuts? You're kind of just sitting there chilling, enjoying life. For that reason, I rip in $200 into the middle, and the button snap folds. The best part is, the river comes to 6, so even if the button called, we would have gotten there. In this hand, we have ace-6 of spades on the button. There's a raise to 7 from early position. A middle position calls 7. And then I 3-bet to 30. And this may be a little bit too loose, but patil. There's a slight commotion when the early position player sees one of the blinds cards, the big blinds cards. And big blind was probably getting ready to rip it in because he was super short stacked. But then he saw his cards and he decided not to rip it in. Patil. Big blind ends up folding. EP calls and the middle position caller in between us folds. The flop comes 7-9-8 with 2 diamonds. EP checks, I see bet $20 and EP calls. The turn comes to Jack of Spades and EP checks to me. So at the time, I decided to check this turn back, which I actually really don't like. At the time, I thought EP's range could have maybe some 10s, some straights, scary card, patil, so I got scared, decided not to bluff. But I think if we bet really small here, if EP has a straight, he's gonna raise, So, because he's scared of the flush draw. So if he doesn't raise and cause a tiny size on the turn, it means he's incredibly capped on the river. So for that reason, I much prefer a smaller bet, but I do end up checking back. Now EP leads 25 into about 100 on the river, so what's EP's range? Well, I think EP is going to have some pretty significant bet sizing tells. I really don't believe this guy's leading 25 into 100 if he had a super strong hand, like a straight. This really feels like a one pair holding to me, or a bluff. So for those reasons, I decided to rip it in.
How much is that?
I'll show you a card. I'll show you a card. Okay.
191.
I'll show you one. Do you want to choose one?
So at this moment, you're witnessing me do something really dumb, and letting him choose a card. Essentially, it's 50-50. If he sees the big scary card, the ace, he's gonna think I have ace-jack or maybe like, I don't know, some other card, and he's gonna fold. If he sees a 6, he's gonna see the less scary card and think I'm not gonna 3-bet 6-5, because why would I do that? And then he's gonna call. And I think it's a little bit unnecessary when there's a good chance he's gonna fold anyway. It turns out that this player is really sticky. So if I knew that, I probably would have never done this bluff in the first place, because he tanks for a while. But, you know, whatever. I promise I may or may not. I can't say I'm not lying, but
I'll pay you $10 to flip over the.
Wait, what? But then you know what I have. I can't promise whether or not I have aces or not.
Okay, I'm gonna flip over this card, but then you also have to flip.
No, because then you know what I have. Do you have? What do you have? You have king jack?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna trust my gut and think that you just have aces.
I could have
You have
aces.
aces now? Or do you have ace jack? No, he literally has a jack.
I don't want to tell you what I have. You fold. You'll see it on the vlog.
No, shut
You see it on the vlog. You have to subscribe. You have to subscribe. You have to subscribe. Okay, so for this hand, I'm reviewing somebody else's hand. And the action gets a little bit weird, but I think there's a button straddle. There's a bunch of limpers. I think the button ISOs to 12, and the early position limper cause, the special guest cause, and there are 3 ways to the flop. The flop comes queen 7-5 with 2 spades, 1 club. It checks to the hero, and then the hero decides to lead this for $20, so half pot. And I could actually get behind this lead into the button. If SPR is pretty low, I actually don't mind it, it's not that bad. If SPR is deeper, checking and going for a check raise against the pre-flop aggressor is probably okay. Although this probably isn't that bad either, so Patel, he leads. The button ends up folding, and then the big blind calls. The turn comes to 6 of spades. Big blind checks, and now the hero decides to check back. Check back's okay, it is a scary turn card. I would much prefer a small bet to let the big blind continue with his weak top pair hands, or just any top pair hand, and check raise his flushes. Because if he has a flush, he's probably going to raise against a small bet, and then we can, navigate accordingly. Or if he has a showdown value hand, he's going to call the small bet. Of course, with our specific hand, a set, it does get really awkward if he does check raise, because if we had a hand like top pair, top kicker, if he check raise, it would be so much easier for us to fold. The river comes to 10 of diamonds, and now the big blind checks. The hero now decides to bet 50 into 80. And I think on this river, the big blind could occasionally have a hand like queen 10. He can also have 5-6 occasionally. So, and even if he has a queen, we could potentially go like $10 more, Patel. So we could probably squeak in a little bit extra value. I know the flush got there, but I still think the big blind is going to call even though there is a flush on the board. In this hand, we have queen 10 of diamonds. There's a few limps, a open, a call, I 3-bet to 30, and then one of the callers back jams $340. into the middle for absolutely no reason. So I fold queen 10 of diamonds. You're not gonna believe what he shoved with.
King 9?
That's right, he shoved with king 9 offsuit for no reason. Okay, if gambling is doing drugs, then this next hand is like injecting heroin straight into your heart. We have ace 5 offsuit, and there's an open for early position. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 callers, including us. We're in there too, and we go straight to the flop.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
The flop comes 8, 7, 9, all diamonds, but we have the ace of diamonds, which means we have the nut flush draw. Someone in EP leads for 15 into 6 people, some other person calls, and then some other person just rips his entire stack in. And I'm not gonna bore you with the math right now, maybe I'll put it on the screen, but source, trust me bro, we're getting pot odds. So I reshove with a nut flush draw, and everyone folds, so now we're heads up in an all-in pot.
Dice, like Eric.
One time.
How do you go twice?
No, one
Are
time.
you okay? If you want to go twice,
Come on.
okay, I'll go twice.
He's got
I go
guard.
twice?
I have a set.
You have a set? I have a flush.
Oh, you flopped it.
Draw.
Okay.
Oh.
I have a set.
Oh my
Oh.
god. Oh my god.
I'm gonna nut. I'm actually nutting.
Okay, wait. Oh shit. Do you want to go once?
I see who's the vote.
Twice,
Oh! Okay, let's go twice. Let's go twice.
Nice.
Locked up half. We locked up
Okay.
twice.
Okay.
First run.
did it
First
twice.
run. Okay.
First run.
Second run. Second
I'm
run.
back for you.
Oh.
Okay,
Vote
it's
up
the
again.
flush.
Vote up again.
No! No! Oh!
Two.
We voted up again.
Kidding, Eric. We shot.
You chop. I'll chop.
We have pocket 4s in the small blind. There's a raise from EP, a call, and a squeeze. And normally we would fold this hand, but I realized that nobody folds their cards pre-flop at this game. So if we code call, the other 2 players are also going to call because they're just not going to fold. And then we're going to get pot odds. So I flick in the 25. As presumed, we go 4 ways to a flop, where we drill bomb set. And now this is the hardest part of poker that no one tells you about, because after I check, EP1 shoves, EP2 reshoves, and I have to call because I have bomb set, so I call, and we're up against ace king and ace jack. Like, what am I supposed to do here?
You want
I
twice?
think I
I'm probably.
I have ace king.
I have pocket 4s.
Okay, wow. Dude, I had queens,
It's
bro.
jack.
I had queens.
Oh, so I'm
I would have folded
Oh,
for
you're-
the sole reason that one.
So I'm actually dead.
Oh, yeah, I know.
No, you're not dead. You can go runner. You need to go runner.
Runner ace.
I'm not in the hand.
Oh,
but
you're dead this
I would've
board.
won.
I'm dead.
Yeah, I would've
Okay.
got cooked.
Oh my gosh. You got a best.
Pocket 4s here? Oh my gosh, I'm dead
You're
again,
dead.
right?
You're dead. You're dead.
We pick up pocket queens in whatever position, and we raise it up to $7. We have 6 callers. We casually flop top set multi-way on a queen 7 deuce board. 1 caller. We turn a full house, patel. We take down the money. We pick up pocket kings in the small blind. We raise it up. We win a small pot. We pick up pocket aces, and I'm not proud of it, but we're pretty card dead this entire session. And I'm a little bit on tilt, so I have to raise it up, you know, a little bit bored. We get a few callers, we see bet the flop, 2 people call, we take it down the river. In this next hand, we're under the gun with Jack 10 of diamonds. We raise it up to $7 using a 7x opening size because no one folds at this game. We get 3 bet by the call off to 25, the small blind code calls, and you can bet your ass we're not folding, so we're in there. It should be noted the small blind is a very sticky player. I wouldn't bluff him. The flop comes king queen 9 rainbow with 1 diamond. It checks all the way to the cutoff, and the cutoff c-bets 15 into 75. The small blind calls, and there could be an argument to be made to raise now for value, but we have the indefinite nuts, and the only bad card that can come is a board pair. And even then, it's not even, at this game, even if the board pairs, it's probably still in the nuts. So in game, I did decide to slow play and try to keep his bluffs in, but I do realize now that since no one's folding at this game, there's no point in me slow playing, because I would never check raise as a bluff if people are just gonna call too much. So probably check raising now for value is probably the best bet, or whatever. It's too late now. The turn comes to Queen of Diamonds, and now the small blind checks. And this is a card I almost donk lead. In fact, now that I'm reviewing it now, I kind of regret not donk leading this card in-game. In-game I was highly considering donk leading, but I felt more comfortable checking. And the reason I was good at donk lead is based off of the pre-flop aggressor's range. Alright, so what is the Kov's range when he c-bets the flop? Alright, so for strong hands, he can have ace-king, ace-ace, king-king. So yes, he occasionally has the full house, but if you pay really close attention, you can see that the cutoff doesn't have any queen x in his range, and that's because the cutoff is incentivized to check back hands like ace-queen, queen 10 or whatever queen x, because his queen x actually doesn't need that much protection, and its second pair hand is a showdown value hand class. For that reason, the small blind and me have more queen x in our range. So this is a turn card that the cutoff would check a lot. Like, this is a card that he would check a lot because he's scared that we have the queen, right? And at the same time, since the board has paired, even if the cutoff does bet, I mean, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a set after he bets such a small size. It still makes it less appetizable for me to check raise a straight when the board is paired. And of course, this is just a scary turn card for the cutoff's range, because we can just have trips, so he's going to check back a lot of his king x anyway. And even if he has a hand like ace 10, he's going to call a bet, but he's not going to fold. So we actually get a donk lead for a rather large size on this turn, but in game I decide to check. The river comes above average, giving us a royal flush. And now the small blind decides to lead into us for $40. So what's small blind's range? I actually have absolutely no fucking idea what small blind is leading here with, because this guy could just spaz out with any two cards. But if I had to guess, he has at least trips, or maybe if not trips, at least a really good two pair. So we're just gonna put the money in because he's probably never folding. Like, he's really sticky.
All in.
Whoa! Rips it.
Whoa.
Rips it.
That's your whole stack. So yeah, about 200. Oh
He
my
goes.
god.
Oh,
He's not strong.
shit.
Now the small blind goes into a super tank.
You can show me your cards. Nice, dude.
Fuck, bro. Look at the laughter, bro.
So I have
He's got 30 seconds.
I have a hand that would appreciate if you didn't do this.
30 seconds.
No, 25.
I call.
You call?
Yeah.
I have a straight flush.
Oh, that is sick.
Oh my gosh. No, you have a royal flush.
Yeah,
You
royal
have a
flush. I have a royal flush.
Oh my fucking gosh.
Royal flush. Royal flush.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Yo, what? Yo.
Yes,
Oh
go,
my
go,
god.
go,
You guys
go,
are
go,
fucking
go,
royal
go.
flush.
That's a crazy.
You guys are fucking royal flush.
It's fat.
Hey, he clipped on him. He clipped on him.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
vlogging equity.
Holy shit, dude. That is insane.
Yo, that
For the electricity either.
okay.
Yeah.
In this next hand, we have Queen 8 offsuit in the big blind. There's a limp from under the gun. Early position raised to 3. It folds to me. I put in the call with Queen 8 offsuit, and then under the gun, limp raises to 15. And then it folds back to me again. You know, we've been running pretty bad this entire session, not making any big hands, not picking up any decent holdings, so you know, I put the money in. The flop comes 3 of diamonds, 6 of hearts, 2 of hearts. We check to the under the gun, and under the gun bets $5 into 34, and at this point I'm pretty sure under the gun's gonna have some pretty obvious bet sizing tails. I think if he had a strong hand he would just bet bigger, so we check raise to 25, and under the gun calls.
25.
Oh.
call.
Okay. You get a 5 back, right?
Yep.
Ooh.
But you get a 5 back.
Yeah.
I get 5 back.
Yeah. Ooh.
70. 75.
75.
Just put in 5.
What if I put in 100?
Well, then I'm gonna
Okay,
fold.
well, just put in the money, man.
You're gonna fold. I don't want you to fold.
Fold. If you put in 5, I'll call it 5. But if you put anything more than 5, I'm gonna fold.
Now, this is where we execute a concept that we use a lot. Alright, we want him to call the turn with a weak range, so he folds the river. We make more money when they call with weak hands and fold later than if they fold immediately.
Alright, I call.
Thank you.
Charity work?
Now we're behaving.
Charity.
Oh.
100.
Ding dong.
Oh,
Wow.
that's no fun.
Queen
You
8.
really milked him. Really milked him for the extra 5.
You had nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
You're so mean.
Yeah, I knew you.
Unfortunately, the
Could've doubled me up.
burn